Nearly 2,000 years ago, near the Bay of Naples, the towns of Pompeii and Herculaneum flourished. It was a region with landowners and merchants, farmers and slaves, politicians and priests, doctors and courtesans. There were temples, shops, paved roads, and for thousands of people, it was home. In 79 AD, the devastating eruption of Mount Vesuvius buried Herculaneum and nearby Pompeii in volcanic ash and mud. In just a few hours, their communities vanished. But sealed beneath the debris was a record of ancient life waiting to be uncovered again. In the early 1700s, well diggers south of Naples discovered a trove of ancient marble artifacts. Over the next 3 centuries, archaeologists uncovered luxurious villas, courtyards, storerooms, theaters, and in them, rare objects of art and daily life from the people who lived and died there 2,000 years ago. These discoveries inspired billionaire oil magnate J. Paul Getty to reimagine one of Herculaneum's most spectacular homes, the Villa dei Papiri, here in California, overlooking the ocean in Malibu, a site remarkably similar to the original location on the Mediterranean coast. The cultures of Greece and Rome fascinated Getty, and in the 1970s, as his collection of ancient Mediterranean art grew, he decided to build a reconstruction of an ancient Roman villa in which to display it. He chose a design based largely on the partially excavated Villa dei Papiri. Getty believed this Roman-style setting would help visitors forge a deeper connection with the people of the ancient Mediterranean, people who created and owned sumptuous works of art, but also cooked and studied and watched their children grow in a city by the sea. The Getty Villa borrows many of its architectural features directly from Herculaneum and neighboring towns. The Mosaic tile fountain, alive with the sound of flowing water. The long peristyle with its gardens, sculpture, and pool, so like the ones where Romans would have raised fish or spent a warm afternoon. Ancient Romans incorporated art into their daily lives. They filled their public spaces and temples with statues of emperors and gods, soldiers and heroes. The wealthy decorated their houses with elaborate frescoes and covered their floors with colored stone laid in marvelous geometric patterns. In Greece, decorated ceramics were within the means of even modest households. In the Getty Villa, these ancient artworks continue to inspire artists and artisans today.
There's an immediacy to manipulating the clay. The connection to the past is tangible and real. It's very tactile. Going back into the history of civilization, pottery was at the center of it. The level of craftsmanship and quality is on par with the greatest works of art in the world. And it all takes place in the decorating of it and telling a story and applying meaning to what's still a very functional vessel.
Wine is part of culture. It's part of life. It predates the Greeks and the Romans. In many ways, we're still following their methods: grapes and yeast and time. The climate in California is almost the same. We don't have the volcanic soil, but we have the sun and the sea. The technology has changed, but the process is timeless.
From wine cups to keys and containers for cosmetics, the ancient Greeks and Romans transformed the most ordinary objects into charming and sometimes humorous artworks. They built on the creations of other ancient cultures and refined glassmaking, sculpture, and metalwork.
One of the things I love about blacksmithing is that connection to ancient times. One of my favorite things is seeing those old tool marks because that's almost like the blacksmith's signatures that they put on the piece.
I work with copper, bronze, brass, and the ancients worked in the same materials. I'm part of this very long continuum of metalsmithing.
The Mediterranean Sea connected ancient people from Asia to Africa. Their cultures influenced and borrowed from one another. Egypt, Rome, and Greece traded not only in metalwork, wine, and food, but also in ideas, beliefs, and art.
This looks like it could have been painted yesterday. The texture, the smoothness of the skin, the look in the eyes, it really speaks to me. Encaustic paint's made of basic materials: beeswax, sap from a tree, and pigment. It's this beautiful, luminous, translucent medium. Working with encaustics, you feel a connection even across thousands of years.
These funerary portraits from Rome and Egypt are a powerful link to people who died thousands of years ago. Like many objects at the Getty Villa, they memorialize a world that still inspires us today, but is now gone. The Getty Villa, the only American museum devoted to Greek, Etruscan, and Roman art, is a tribute to the people of the ancient world and their lasting contributions to civilization, democracy, literature, philosophy, and art. The citizens of Herculaneum may have believed they were creating a society and a culture that would endure forever. They could not have foreseen the volcanic devastation of their entire city, one 24-hour period that buried everything they knew and everything they created for nearly 2,000 years. And yet, the cultures of the past do live on in their art and their inventions, in their irrepressible creative impulse that defies time and place.